Hi, welcome to Collected Creations. Just wanted to add this little intro because I've already edited the rest of the footage you're about to see, but I kind of stumped myself by not realizing that I wanted to talk about limited edition boutique releases, not just... Well, I put down a lot of boutique releases and was like, oh, they're all boutique, including Criterion and Shout Factory, but I didn't want to include Criterion and Shout Factory because some part of me was like, this isn't right, there's something about this I don't want to include. I do include two sets in particular, but none of them are limited edition, and I want to emphasize that this is just limited edition boutique Blu-ray releases and my ranking comparisons of each brand. I don't have every single brand that exists. I have a good selection, and I have delved through a decent handful of each selections, most of these being some of my favorite releases from each brand. So, yeah, just wanted to kind of clear that up, that it'll be in the title as well, probably the thumbnail too, but I just figured an intro might help. So, yeah. Cool. Well, enjoy the video. Let me know what your favorite limited edition boutique Blu-ray label is, or boutique Blu-ray label in general is, and I'll see you next time. And the rest of this video. I don't know why I'm saying goodbye. Hello. Welcome to the video. I mean, it's really tricky. I look at all these sets that I have, and I have a lot of boutique label sets. And I question to myself, what is the best boutique label? And though I don't think there is really a definitive answer, because they all kind of display different things, and that's basically because, to some degree, it depends on the licensing, I'd argue. Because that's like the basic level. You got to look at what kind of prints do the companies have, what commentaries they have access to, or can they create commentaries, like how much funding they have towards the project itself. Do they have original artwork? Do they have recreated artwork? Do they have a hard case set? Do they have a regular steelbook set? Do they have just a standard movie, standard plastic case kind of deal? There's a lot of different elements, and I really want to define that straight off the bat. There is a lot of different things. Alright, so let's say Exterminating Angel, for example. It's a basic case. It is my favorite type of case, to be fair, of a standard case, but it's standard. You have the case, you have the artwork, you have the disc, you have a booklet. Sometimes it's a poster with an essay, depends. Sometimes you get digipacks. There's differences like that, but if we want to go extremities, we want to look at something that's really insane, that's like, here's $100, what are you going to give me? Well, probably not, really. Sometimes more than $100. So I've got a selection here. I'd say that these are maybe my favorite sets from these companies, but realistically they're just variations of. And I basically want to do a comparison because, again, most of the time you're getting the same standard formula for some companies. And the thing is too, I've got a stack here from Indicator, which most of my Indicator sets are basically all the same. Fair enough. I've got one set from Imprint. The only difference is this set doesn't come with a booklet. Some sets do. I have the collaboration set, which comes with a booklet. It just helps define what each film is, because there's a lot of films in it, but it's also a really expensive set. And I don't want to stoop that high, because that's a several film set. The film I'm going for is just a one film set. I've got one example from Eureka. Basically, my favorite example from Eureka, I guess. I mean, not really my favorite example, just one of my favorite films that they've done. I've got Arrow Video, and I've got Second Sight. If I really want to be particular and add a Criterion, that's my favorite Criterion. So this isn't exactly, I was going to do what's my favorite of... You know what, I'm still going to say what's the best one, because I'm not going to pin any of these down as a definitive, this is my favorite of these sets this brand has done. Some of these, definitely. Some of these definitely. Some of these, not so much. So, I mean, this is a goddamn Criterion. Like, I don't have the Ingmar Bergman set. Wow, I pronounced that name as poorly as possible. I don't have the Ingmar. Fucking Swedes. The Ingmar Bergman set. I don't have that. I don't have the... Zatoichi? Okay, my pronunciation's today up the fucking wazoo, but I don't have those really insanely nicely done sets. Actually, no, I do have the Wonka Wai set. That's a good set. Worlds of Wonka Wai set, the Criterion, that's a really nice set. Okay. I'm making this really tricky for myself. Let's break down. Eureka. What do we have from Eureka? I have chosen Mothra. because I really dig the artwork. It's crazy, zany, and over the top, and I kind of love it, you know? It's very out there. You get a hard, rigid case. You fucking beat that, Criterion. You get a poster of the movie. I want to try to do this quickly to some degree, because there's a lot to break down. Remake poster, as in the one that they've used for the main design of the artwork here, and actually it's not even remake. Sometimes they have remade artwork and emphasize it on a poster. I believe this is the American poster. This is the Japanese poster. That's a doubly good touch, just in case you're familiar with one over the other. Get a booklet, which is pretty hefty size. That's 60 pages, not bad. Featuring essays detailing the film, that kind of jazz. And then you get your film, reversible artwork. Standard case, yes, sure. But you do get reversible artwork and some kind of disc art. That's a J card in there. That's not bad. 60-page limited edition booklet featuring essays from Christopher Stewardson and Japanese cinema expert Jasper Sharp. Booklet, poster. Most of these sets, realistically, if you've been a boutique collector for a while now, you will know that most of these sets come with your basic standard stuff. If you're going to spend money on a set, it's going to be like this. Hard, rigid case, booklet, movie, or even show, depends on what it is, and a poster. Sometimes art cards, depends. Art cards can be either reprints of like lobby cards, or just they are designed to be like lobby cards where you're just taking a shot from the movie and you're being boring and cheap. That's fine. I don't always mind that, because I kind of like that old style, film element. Oh, hey, they used to have lobby cards to advertise for movies, because that's what they were. It's in the name, lobby. Same as a poster. It's the same goddamn thing. Obviously, people love posters more because you can put posters on walls. Fair. And I like the double-sided nature of it, because you get usually new artwork and original, or in this case for Mothra, Japanese and American, and I really dig that. So then you get, I don't have many. I'm looking around, I want to see if there's any variation, but from my room, I don't have any other variation from Eureka. I have such things as the Jackie Chan 4K trilogy, but it's the exact same stuff. I just don't think it has a poster, it's just a booklet, and the trilogy for Police Story, 1, 2, and Super Cop, all in 4K. Reversible artwork, 4K cases, simple as that. Then you get the Australian label, Imprint. We have a few Australian labels, and again, there's the expensive side and then there's the cheaper side. The cheaper side would be something like Umbrella Entertainment. I don't mean that cheaper in terms of quality. I honestly prefer their quality. Like, you get sleeves, reversible artwork, and a fuck ton of special features. Imprint, sure, they have their give and take. Sometimes their sets are, their versions of their films are amazing with some great transfers, usually provided by other people, mostly Paramount and Universal, who have done the remasters, and Imprint has got the license to reproduce it in Australia. But if we're going to look at their sets, which, sure, boutique, I guess. It's limited edition, you get some nice artwork as an overround. This is a really nice set for The Wicker Man, a film which I already had every single version already available that I'd gotten for a lot cheaper, like a year and a half, 2 years earlier, because Studio Canal did that. It doesn't have a booklet, but it does come with a little J-card thing. And you get 3 different cases. This can be fun, sure, but it's also a bit of a... My criticisms with Imprint come down to, is the print good and is it expensive, needlessly or such? Usually needlessly, because they include 3 different cases when you could have made 1 case with the disc and put it in a hard case. You don't even need 3, you could still do 2 cases, but this is just original soundtrack. Is there anything actually on this? It's the director's cut in standard definition, which you could have just made into a second disc and put into a different case, and a bunch of special features. Okay, that's just a special features disc. Sure, artwork is nice, that's a plus. The back of the artwork also is different depending on the version of the film, because they all come with different... the final cut and this one has the same title, which is fine. And then you compare these two, of course. This is your new final cut artwork. This is like original poster. Or maybe original theatrical poster. This is theatrical cut and director's cut. But no special audio commentaries. which is good. That's a good way to do your special features if you're going to do it that way. But you could have easily just put the third disc in here and made this be a special features as well, because it has the director's cut and standard definition on this extra Blu-ray. Plus, original soundtrack is in here. Okay, that's usually a benefit. They have soundtracks. Most of the brands don't do soundtracks, which I find very interesting. Second Sight do, and Imprint do. Most of us companies don't do soundtracks. And again, the artwork here is nice, you know. Sure, this is just the final cut of the film with a bunch of special features. Always disc art, always some kind of inside artwork, which is just a wallpaper for the sake of a wallpaper. So, it being my favourite of Imprint sets, sure, because it's a really nice looking set. Only problem is that it was bloody expensive. This is like over $100 for basically one film, and I can understand that if it's like an import with like a 4K and a Blu-ray, and I mean, to be fair, with all the special features this has, sure, it makes sense, but it's bloody expensive. It feels needlessly expensive, which is like the curse of Imprint. They always have needlessly expensive purchases, when again, I could just buy the Studio Canal version, which has the exact same shit. I just don't get the soundtrack. And you know what? Maybe I don't need the fucking soundtrack. How about that? In terms of standard or alternate versions for Imprint, I've got like After Dark, the neo-noir cinema, the collaboration set, which I think most people would pin that as one of their, if not their best set, which is fair. It's just not my favourite in terms of artwork, but it's the exact same design as the Wicker Man box. It just has a booklet included. Each film has its own case. To be fair, that's fine, because they're individual films. They get individual artwork. It works out pretty goddamn well. I like that. That's a good variation. But because most of their film sets are like the Wicker Man set, where it's just one film, you know. The Warriors, I have their set of that. That comes with two different cases, one for their theatrical cut, one for the director's cut. And you could realistically have just made it reversible artwork and put it all in one case. And you know what they did? They released that as a standard definition a year later. So everyone going crazy for the limited edition, when it's like, oh, well, they're doing a standard edition in a year's time. Of course, we didn't know that. Foresight, not here, but, you know, at the same time. I do have On the Beach. That's pretty good. The Hammer Horror, both the TV set and the movies, again, it's the same thing. Just, my criticism comes from if they have just one movie in the case, and then they've got, like, 3 different cases inside that for one movie. It's a bit of overkill. It's not bad, though. If they came with more booklets, like proper essays and stuff, then yeah, maybe, sure. Like, I'd buy it for the essay for most of the time. But then you look at, I mean, I've got the 4K of War of the Worlds. That comes with a booklet, and a steelbook, and a lenticular, and a 4K UHD with Dolby Vision. That's a really nice set, but that's an oddity, because they haven't done any more of those yet. That's the first of its kind. So I can't pin that as, oh, is this the best you can get? I mean, that's the best you can get of that, but it's still bloody expensive for just one version of the film. But still, that's like most other copies that I prefer. It comes with a booklet, comes with a steelbook, kind of like our video, which we'll get to. Then you get to Indicator, which I've been holding this one for a bit now. This one's a new set in that I just got, but again, it's basically the same as every other set that you would get from Indicator for a limited edition. They have their standard editions, but these are their premium ones. You get a poster. It's nice. They usually come with posters. Sometimes, not always, but usually. And it always comes with a banner that wraps around. It's a note card, basically, but just wraps around. You get your titles of your movies, you get your collection set name, all the posters, and your limited edition nature. With Indicator, I don't have any criticisms of their sets. Like, it's all hardbound. Most British sets are always hardbound. I really like that, and they've always got that kind of nice feel to it, where it doesn't feel like your fingerprints are going to ruin it. It's not overly glossy, it's just a nice design. The back is basically the equivalent of, hey, we're not going to bother with a J-card, here's all of your details, and all of your details, and details, and a picture. And for the most part, it's not a bad set. You get your standard little, oh my god, okay. You get chunky booklets. Chunky booklets are really good. I like chunky booklets. A good read is a good read. And they do this really interesting thing where you've basically got a little cardboard sleeve, which just tells you what the film is. You get the artwork. And some of these actually have several films, so you'll have one poster on the front and one poster on the inside. This is one film, so it comes with 3 for one film. And then you get disc artwork and artwork on the base. It's nice. I really like how they've done this set. Which one is this? This was number 255? Yes, it was. You know, it's one of those commendable things where this is just a nice collection. They have a lot of these collections. It's the most boutique I have when it comes to Indicator or Powerhouse. What others do I have of theirs? I have Columbia Noir number 5, I believe, which is a Bogart collection. It's the exact same as this. And I'm pretty sure I had another collection of theirs. There's a Hammer Horror one I have. Confusingly, I have no idea where I've placed it, which is very bizarre. But I've got a Hammer Horror one as well. It's just a collection of Hammer Horror films. It's pretty simple as that. Usually probably ones they can get cheaper prints. But these details that they're all 4K restorations except for 3 different films, which are just standard HD remasters, which might just be 2K, but they don't stipulate. So, in contrast to Imprint, they usually do their own restorations, or maybe someone does the restorations for them, but most of the time these are unique packages that come with films that are usually premiered on Blu-ray worldwide and UK to this, because it's a UK brand. I think it says, world and UK premieres on Blu-ray. I don't know how many of these are premieres, but at the same time, that's still 10 films, and I got it on sale. But 10 goddamn films. If it helps to contrast, it's smaller than the Imprint one. I know it's by like 2 millimeters, but it's a smaller set. And like when I said the material, see how this is kind of glossy from the light, and this one isn't. I don't mind it, but and also display of artwork. This Imprint's unique sets come with this, where it'll open off the top, which is a nice form. I kind of dig it. But at the same time, it does chop the artwork in half. In a quarter, a third? I don't even know how you describe that. It's technically half because it's 2 different pieces, but it's not an equal half. So Arrow Video, I would determine that in contrast to Criterion, because I feel like most people... I'm under the impression that if you're going to compare a boutique label from one side of the world to the other, even though they're really, really close, you know, when you look at the plane flights, that the UK to the US, really easy to do that. But you know what's not? Australia to everywhere else. I would compare that Criterion's competitor would be Arrow Video in terms of the top chain boutique labels. But when it comes to really interesting set designs, I kind of prefer Arrow Video, because if you're going to look at, and I will show off my favorite ones currently, or a standard one and 2 of my favorites in terms of design, when you compare Criterion to at least their more elusive sets, say the World of Wonka Wai and the Godzilla one and the Zayoichi and Agnes Varda and all of those sets, you notice one thing that's really, really interesting. They're fucking gigantic. And I really want to emphasize that, because they're all different shapes and sizes, and it's a real bitch. Because as a collector, when you have a shelf that's designed to fuck you, you can't put anything special on it. Do you know where my Godzilla set sits? Do you know where it goddamn sits? Adjacent to me is a piano, and I put it there because it's too big to go anywhere else. It's annoying. So, despite the fact that, yes, Criterion do have some really amazing sets, they're just kind of ugly, in a way, in terms of, like, design. I don't know. I don't have, like, their other huge, gigantic sets, which are all just tabletop shit. If you have a goddamn coffee table, you put them on there and be like, hey, look at me, I got the giant goddamn set. Good for you. I mean, look, the Godzilla thing is probably a great mantelpiece item, and it is, because it sits on a mantelpiece, and people will walk in and be like, wow, Godzilla, that's cool. They won't ask what the fuck it is. They might think it's a gigantic book, and I'll be like, no, it's a set of like 15 movies. Actually, I think it's like 20-odd movies. Either way, it's just a little bit annoying. If we're gonna be honest here, a little bit annoying. The one thing I can say for certain about Arrow Video, their sets are usually all the same, but different. Lovingly different. Now, these are 3 completely different sets. I really got to emphasize that. your standard set at Arrow Video. This is a recent edition I got, limited edition for the Children of the Corn. You get your 4K plus Blu-ray of the first film, Blu-rays of the second two film with HD transfers, all with some extra remastering stuff done to them. You get a booklet as well, which has a handful of essays, 2 of them by people I am personally friends with. It's great. And a double-sided poster with newly commissioned artwork and original artwork. That's pretty good. Good solid box. I mean, it's basically the same as Indicator in terms of, you know, quality, which is good quality. Same as Eureka. They're all, like, from the same people. It's almost like they all go to the same goddamn shop. Hey, slap this artwork on your box and we'll call it a day. There's not much else to talk about. They have reversible artwork. They occasionally have really good transfers. They never have bad transfers. I say occasionally because, like, they might just have a 2K restoration on a Blu-ray in one set. But, I mean, like one of these sets. But, for the most part, they all still look really good. And, do you know what they also do, which I don't even have one here to show, which I probably should? I'll grab one. I was about to grab Wild Things. No, True Romance. I don't care much for the artwork on the front, but this does come with, ever so gorgeously, an amazing steelbook. I know it's not, it's just 2 people's faces. But, poster, 2 discs, and lobby cards, and well, one of them is a postcard. They do have lobby cards, and they have a sticker as well. That's really nice. This is my best steelbook set that they've done. And I think this is still just a standard Blu-ray. It's not even like a 4K... It's a 4K remaster, but like it's not a 4K UHD. No, but still. That's a really nice set. Like, if I'm going to compare and contrast, these are your standard sets. Whether it's a collection of films or just one film, usually it might just come like this, but it'll come with a plastic case like this one does, or it'll come with a steelbook. And I usually go the steelbook options, because why not? So Arrow Video already amazing. I mean, again, maybe in contrast to Eureka and Indicator, not overly different. Indicator do use their cardboard packs, very nice. Less plastic, that kind of stuff, but it's just better for room, easier to display artwork. I kind of dig it. That one's a really nice display function, but only if it comes in the box. If it doesn't come in the box, it kind of looks stupid. And you know what? Criterion have a few of those, and we call them digipacks. Not a fan. Sometimes they look nice, but they so easily get crushed in the mail. Say my Dr. Strangelove, probably my favorite of their digipacks, but it crushed in the mail. Like, I mean, it still works. The disc works fine. There's no breakage or anything. It's just cardboard. So, maybe my favorite in terms of designs of their standard sets, I don't even know what the hell what do you call this? This is just like, this is the adjacent, I would say, to Imprint, where, again, you take it off, but oh, look at that, there's artwork on the inside. How unique is that? That's already a plus in my book, and you know what? You know, it's not bringing them all out, but I think you're hopefully getting the idea. 3 different cases. Slimmer, yes, but you get original artwork and you get remade artwork. And look at that. Chunky book. Real chunky book. That's nice. And also, it doesn't seem distracting. Okay, maybe a little bit, but I don't really mind. I kind of like it. I guess because it's all colours. It doesn't bother me as such. Wolf of Wall Street. Probably, despite most people being like, why the hell does Arrow Video have a Wolf of Wall Street set? Yes, a bit kind of crazy, given it's a popular film. Really goddamn nice. Except for the back. The back sucks. Front, sure, theatrical artwork. Why not? Title on the spine, nothing on the bottom, nothing on the top. Really kind of bland in terms of the rest of it, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But it has easily my favorite. I mean, it does have a J card. That's why. This is the kind of stupid shit. There's my criticism for Arrow Video. They still go with J cards, which I think is stupid. Like, at least Indicator's one is, hey, we're going to have most of the details on the back, but you get this cool little wraparound so that nothing will fall out. And it can probably look a bit ugly, maybe, or can be a bit annoying. Depends on how you fit with your collection. But I kind of dig it. I don't love them, but I don't hate them. I think they've got a practical purpose. J-cards just don't. They're just editorial information that you could be put on the back. And if you don't have on the back, you could have artwork. But you know what? They chose to not go with artwork. Kind of dumb. But they do have this beautiful set, which comes with money and comes with, oh my god, the money won't go back in, card, all of this stuff. You can't take out the cocaine, but you can take out the cards and everything. It comes with a booklet, which is actually in the shape of money, and it comes with a Blu-ray. In this case, it's my standard Blu-ray, but it is a 4K. It is a 4K set. I've just put my 4K in my Scorsese collection, so I don't have to take this out all the time. You know, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on this, I want people to watch the 4K. So I've left the 4K, again, in my Scorsese slot. Scorsese or Scorsese? I say Scorsese. I know it's probably pronounced Scorsese, but still. This is just a really nice set overall. It's bizarre. It's one of the few oddities from Arrow Video where it's, again, a big movie like this that's getting probably arguably a pretty generic set in terms of the hard case, but the whole fact that the inside is, oh, it's a wallet, it's beyond me. That's a genius idea in terms of design. So, yeah, and again, the booklet looks like a wad of cash. It's genius. It's such a great design choice. Of course, they still lack the fact that there's nothing on the back and they voted for a J card. Not great, but as an overall, Arrow Video is kind of shining up to be maybe the best one. Or is there? I don't know, I was trying to quote Rocky Horror. Bad idea. It's funny, I forgot that for Eureka, I've actually got the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So these are two I have for Severin. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm going to put this in the running. This is again, an oddity for me because I don't have many Severins. Most of them are just standard editions on the shelf with just sleeves. But in terms of fanciful ones, I have the Scary of 61st, which has a really nice mirror artwork and good bloodied artwork over the round. They all usually come with some kind of a case like this that you can, as you can see, it has a divot. You see that divot? I like that. That's a nice design choice because it allows you to take out the slip-covered version, which then again reveals it's an O card, and you get even more artwork. I'm a big stickler for artwork. I know it's basically just the same but pink, but in a different angle, but I gotta be honest, I kind of dig it. And it's region A locked, comes with a selection of special features. I think it's just a standard definition version of the film as well, so Vinegar Syndrome. What was I calling it? Was I calling it Vinegar Syndrome? Bloody hell, I hope I was. I don't think I was calling it Vinegar Syndrome. I think I was calling it something else. Anyway, Vinegar Syndrome. That's a nice set. Like, I got this mostly because these are the limited edition ones. I got it mostly because of the artwork. I haven't seen the film yet. I haven't gone around to it. But I actually got this one at a film fair thingy that they had at the Astor last year. This is a Paul Morrissey film. It's called Frankenstein. It's actually called Flesh for Frankenstein or Frankenstein 3D because it has both. And you know what? This is the exact same. You get your sleeve, you get some, gloss, good artwork, and then you get the 3D version. I saw this and I got it for like $60, I think, which is a pretty good price given, the fact that to get them imported is pretty expensive. So, alright, I'll put that in the running. That's really nice. I don't have a lot to compare, and these are basically the exact same thing, just one has two films, one has one film. But I gotta be honest, nicely designed sets, but again, it's lacking booklets and posters and artwork and extra stuff like that. It does incredibly do the artwork choice. Great. And a good selection of special features. Sometimes a transfer, sometimes not. Like, sometimes a new 4K transfer, sometimes not. I guess it depends on whatever print they can get. So I feel like this is one of those things where maybe the cheapest part is actually the print, and the more expensive part is the design work. And honestly, sure, you can throw a bunch of glitter on a turd and I'll buy it. I've done that with a lot of imprints. So the last one I want to show off Second sight. This is my most recent one. Takes a chance, so it hasn't come in the mail yet, but I've got a good alternative. So the two that are basically the same in terms of production-wise, The Witch and Martin. I mean, there's not too much to dive into given the obvious, but I'm gonna go for The Witch because it's much easier to take it all out. Do you see how easy that slides out? The Witch has the burden of the art cards, just posters from the movie, which, I mean, can occasionally be nice. I do like the posters. It's not original artwork for the sake of it, which is a bit disappointing. And J-card as well. This is the limited edition set. But it does come with a very nicely hardbound book, which, you know, props there. But again, same artwork you already have on one of the art cards. And then essays and images and all that jazz. Very well done work. Same goes for Martin. And they both have digipacks just like this. You get artwork on one side, you get discs on the inside. Martin has 3 discs because it comes with the soundtrack. Yeah, you know, hardbound case, newly commissioned artwork, original theatrical artwork pieces, and like creative artwork ones that were just like characters, and by characters I mean the animals, on the outside of the packaging. It's not bad. Their Martin one, they have done new artwork for the character cards and everything, so I'm kind of, I like that. I respect that. Problem is, it's just very tightly bound. But again, chunky booklet. This is the same as some of the other ones. It's not like the hard-bound one, like The Witch has, but again, art cards and the like, you know. That's your pack with all your movies. And yeah, nice artwork overall. This is probably one of their creme de la cremes. And I do have the Dawn of the Dead set, including their standard, where's the standard edition? The standard edition Dawn of the Dead, which is the 4K version, comes like this. And it's already a, I think it's just the films. Yeah, it's just the film with the soundtrack, like 2-3 different versions of the film, all on 4K UHD with the soundtrack. That's really nice. And that's still in a hardbound case. And that's the standard version. The limited edition version is much like this. Of course, this is Drive, but this is just the easy one to get off the shelf because I have zombies in front of my Dawn of the Dead set. I'm sorry. That one comes with a big-ass book. In a big-ass set much like this, which comes with whatever this is called. A J sleeve? I don't even bloody well know, let's be honest. This is also different material, because the Dawn of the Dead one, much like with Martin and whatnot, is one material, same as the Dawn of the Dead standard edition. I have the Blu-ray standard edition, limited edition set, not the 4K, which I sometimes regret, but I'm also like, it was technically cheaper by the end point because I wanted to get the 4K, but I wanted to get the Blu-ray. I hated that it didn't come in two different, like in the same set. That was my main annoyance, but that was mostly because there was so many discs, because it's, you know, theatrical, Argento cut, director's cut, all that, or international cut, all that stuff. But having the limited edition set be the Blu-ray means that it's not the one I need to grab out. I can save that for the booklet and all that kind of stuff, and then have the 4K set on the shelf, which I like, because then I can just watch the 4K UHD whenever I want. I bought the limited edition Blu-ray set when it first came out, because of course, why wouldn't I? And I decided that over the 4K, but then when they released the standard edition 4K, which I knew they probably would have at some point, they still released it in the same kind of design, just without the booklet, making it a hell of a lot slimmer and much easier to go on the shelf. But also, I got it on sale, so it made it even easier for me, so I saved even more money. So, yeah, I probably arguably could have just gotten the limited edition 4K and then the standard Blu-ray, but then I wouldn't have wanted to get the standard Blu-ray. I could have just saved the money. I know. But still, we're talking about Drive. So Drive does have some text on the back. It's a bit, look, let's be honest, this film's kind of a bit pretentious, but that's alright. We still love it. The point is, you take this slide out, and look, you get a booklet, art cards, a book, which is the novelization. The novel it's based on? And then you get your standard digipack with the movie and the soundtrack. Oh, that's a good question. It's been a while since I've opened this. I believe this is a 4K UHD set, but let's take a dive, because it's intense. The book is hefty. Again, the same glossy material, but very nicely done. Essays, storyboards, production, behind the scenes. It's the whole kit and caboodle. It's everything you could probably want if you're a fan of the film. You get a large selection of art cards, which... boring kind of art cards, because they're just stills from the film. Look at all these people who are in this movie. Wow, they're nicely produced. They're glossy, they're cardboard. It's nice, but it's unnecessary. You know, it's not new artwork, but they do have all the new artwork basically catered for, of course, the set itself, which this is Blu-ray and 4K, no soundtrack. I think some people criticized that, I don't know. It obviously was cheaper to not buy the soundtrack, which is fine. And then you get your booklet, which is the novelization of the film. And by novelization, I mean it's the original bloody novel that the film was based on. It's a hell of a mouthful, but if I'm going to be honest, I think Second Sight's my favorite. You can get so much variation, and you can still get standard editions of their films, which is fine. I've gotten some standard editions, which are just... it's just the film in a plastic case, you know, just a regular case. You know, sometimes there's a little essay. Usually the essays and booklets and all that stuff is reserved for the limited edition sets. And that's fine, because it means for the standard consumer, you can play it by ear. If you don't want to get a big booklet that's in an expensive-ass set, then don't worry about it. But if you do want to get a really hefty, you know, set that comes with a lot of special features, as well as a 240-page hardback book with new essays, behind the scenes and all kinds of stuff, 7 collector cards, which again, just collector art cards, which are just the pictures of the people, and a lot of special features. This is your ultimate set. Sure, if you want to look at the concern, region be locked. But it comes with a 4K UHD, which is how you're going to watch the film. And that's all region, because 4K is all region by nature. Thank bloody God. Or just thank legal rights, I guess. I think, as a overall... there are some that are better than others. That much is clear. My favourite is probably still Second Sight. They've released some of the more interesting sets. Like, I wasn't even going to get Martin when it first came out, but that's also because its initial release was limited to, oh, by the way, you can only get this if you're in the UK. And I'm like, say what now? I got it from Dead End DVD, which, because of them, I was able to get other films that other companies had produced, like Cannibal Holocaust. Who would have thought? You know, it's a rabbit hole after all. And there are still other boutique labels I have. There are, of course, the steelbook labels like Mantelab and stuff, but we're not talking about those. I've even got the Turbine set for The Thing. I'm not going to cover that. Turbine feels like an oddity as well, because that doesn't feel like... it does feel like a boutique release, but it doesn't feel like it's not a boutique release to the degree that these are, where they will get a film with a new curated, to a degree, I'd say curated sets, you know, where they've got essays, they've got video essays and commentaries and art cards and posters and all that stuff. Turbine doesn't really do... they have really great sets, but they don't get new curated stuff. They just get what's already existing and for the most part try to compile it together. Which I kind of dig, because my version of The Thing that they have, which is an amazing set with some great artwork and great special features and all that stuff, is just, oh, what if we had the transfer from the 4K transfer from Arrow Video, and then grabbed all the special features from Scream Factory and just kind of chucked them together in one whole thing. So it's neat. It's a good set. But if we're going to look at these, there are definitely other labels I'm not including in this video. Again, I feel like that limits me to just Scream Factory, I guess. And my most eccentric of those is the Friday the 13th set and my Halloween trilogy set, or Halloween collection set, as they call it. Most of the rest of them, I don't think are worth talking about. I mean, even the Friday the 13th one, I mean, I think that's worth talking about, but that's I wouldn't pin it like these to some degree. I guess I could. If you're talking about rules, then sure, fuck it. Just because I can, The one Scream Factor I would scream about, Friday the 13th. Scream Factory seems to be very limited because, I mean, they do Shout Factory as well, but I always go with Scream Factory because they do great horror prints. I've got the Chucky films, I've got the Halloween films, I've got these. I'm so hoping that they do Nightmare on Elm Street. And these come in individual cases, reversible artwork in each one, and a booklet. And that's just with some great artwork. It doesn't have overly curated stuff, like it still has like nice transfers, sometimes remastered, get some audio commentaries. Most of the stuff I feel like was already pre-existing, but at the same time, Scream Factory do put in some extra legwork, not just for the artwork, but they do put in some extra commentaries and stuff, which is good. I don't value them as highly, I think, as some of these, which I'm going to be honest here, I value these much more than Imprint, so there, I can say that at least. If I'm going to do an overall, I'd say my lowest ranked is maybe Imprint. Like, I don't want to be really... I feel like I'm being rude. They're still good sets. Like, the artwork for the Wicker Man is fantastic. The set design, sure, it could be cut down a case, but for the most part, it's a really nicely designed set. It could do with a booklet, you know, something that actually breaks down the impact of the film that isn't just in commentaries and video essays, which I still appreciate. I still like how they put in that legwork for that kind of stuff. And that's most of the reason why I buy a lot of imprints. Like, I have 2 different versions of The Dead Zone. One from Scream Factory, which I mostly bought just so I could get the 4K scan, even though it lacks special features. It only has like a few interviews, which are new, but they're not amazing stuff. Contrast that with the Imprint version, which comes with an audio commentary and basically the same artwork plus some, because it does have reversible artwork on Scream Factory in a slim, cheap case, because they do that with their cheap cases. The Imprint version does come with a sleeve if you get the limited edition print, 1,500 units or whatever they detail. It was like 2,500, then 2,000, now it's 1,500. It is what it is. Do you like how I did 2,000 and 1,500? Yeah, that's how I phrase numbers sometimes. It's weird. But that's still just the standard editions. And standard limited editions still. I wanted to talk about the bigger sets because you invest more money into that. Same as the rest of these. If they come... So that's what I'm mostly delineating between. The sets that come as box sets, that come as this prestigious thing. Because you can still get standard edition releases. And so, if again, with Imprint, their limited edition can just be sleeves. Like the Deep, for example. It's just different artwork in a sleeve. It's the same as Umbrella, except Umbrella's better. If I'm going from personal bias, I think Umbrella's better. But they're standard in terms of that kind of release. Just a slip cover and that kind of stuff in terms of packaging. Most of these, I'm just looking at the packaging. Which one has better packaging? Is that what I'm looking at? Sure. I guess that's my main my main evaluation here is fucking packaging. It's always been packaging. But at the same time, the packaging allows for you to do different advances in the sets, where the Wicker Man for Imprint is, hey, let's do 3 standard cases inside a box. Okay, at least Collaborations has a booklet. That's nice. And that's for individual films. That's my praise there. But that's also because it's individual films. I feel like that has to have a delineation, but it's like they could have done that with the Wicker Man. The Wicker Man feels like it's a lot of money for just one film 3 times over when I had this Studio Canal version, which has the exact same stuff. Probably not as many special features, but it has the exact same goddamn stuff for the most part. Like the same films, the same transfers. No soundtrack. Actually, I think it did come with a soundtrack. Maybe it didn't. Still, I'm digging myself a hole here. If I compare different releases, Criterion's are nice for the boutique nature. It's Criterion's fancy, you know, sip tea and with brandy and a monocle. But then it's outrageously crazy packaging designs, and they're really annoying. The Wonka Wai set is bizarre. It's a cardboard wraparound of a booklet. It's fucking awful. I hate it. And it sits so uncomfortably on a shelf. It's a kind of material that gets like fingerprints all over it. It's very weird. I don't like it that much. The films are fantastic, and what you get, the special features, the transfers, fantastic stuff. But I don't like the package design. Godzilla, on the other hand, great mantelpiece item. And I guess good if you like opening a big book, which, to be fair, most of my Godzilla books are exactly like that. It sits next to a guide to official guide to Godzilla, and it's the exact same style, except that one's a hell of a lot thicker because it's a lot more reading, whereas this one is, sure, a essay per page, basically, and great artwork. It's Godzilla, of course, and I love the artwork that they go for. It's each one has different style. It's wonderful. It's my favorite for Criterion. But it's a hell of a thing to display. If I move out, where the fuck do I put that? I gotta, like, find something to put it on, like at a library, how they have books on display. I gotta get one of those. I don't have one of those. Actually, I have plastic versions, but I use that for steelbooks and, like, other sets. So it's kind of different. This one's way too big for any of those. It's bizarre. Nevertheless, nice, but a bit... Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I can appreciate it, but also hate it at the exact same time. But if you compare the rest, all the rest of them sit perfectly on the shelf. All my Arrow videos can sit side by side by side. There's no delineation of difference. And conveniently, they can all sit next to my Eurekas, my Imprints, my Screen Factories, whatever this other one was. I mean, there's Indicator, there's, what the fuck was this? I've already forgotten. Vinegar Syndrome. Indicator as well, I really like. But my favorite two would be Second Sight and Arrow Video. Arrow Video sets are usually always spot on. The posters are good. I don't always care for the art cards, but I care for the art cards. I don't mind if it comes as a standard case, because it usually gives you original and recreated artwork, which is very nice. Steelbooks, you got to be particular of that. If you don't like the artwork for one thing, you got to like the artwork for another thing. Like, if I don't like the artwork for the set, but I like the artwork for the steelbook, maybe I'll just get the steelbook by itself, which I like that you can do that. But I like limited edition sets. And I don't care much for the artwork for True Romance, but I wanted to get that limited edition set because it looked really nice, and the steelbook artwork does look great, and I don't want it to get scratched, so I can keep it in the case. Very nice. Same for Wild Things. I did not need to get that steelbook set. It's really expensive. You can go steelbooks, you can go standard editions. It is what it is. Eureka almost feels the same, but they don't have steelbook versions. Like, I think they originally did. I think for a lot of their Masters of Cinemas lines early on, they started with steelbooks for, like, Metropolis and stuff like that. I think Cabinet of Dr. Caligari also had a steelbook release at one stage, but they don't really do steelbooks anymore, which I'm fine with. I'm happy with their standard sets. They're basically just... I feel like they're slightly lesser versions than Arrow Video, but realistically they're on par to some degree. I just feel like because Arrow Video has much diversity with having steelbooks and having something like The Wolf of Wall Street, where it's just the most insane packaging you could ever expect. You know, such a kind of boring outer case, but the inside case is 10 out of 10, you know? But Screen Factory is not bad as well. I do like the occasional sets I get from them, but for the most part, most of them are just slightly hardbound, and most of them are just sleeves. A lot of standard versions. Even the Halloween ones, I don't think they're limited edition. I'm pretty sure they're bloody standard. I don't know if they've actually done just regular cardboard sleeves, because these are thick cardboard. I didn't really show off the Halloween collection one, because that's just like that. It doesn't feel like a big boutique set to some degree, like these ones do. Obviously, my contrast there being the Friday the 13th set. I do like that a lot, but that's also a big bloody collection of 13 movies? Oh, no, because it doesn't have the remake, does it? Oh, it does. Holy shit, it fucking does. 12 films. I'm pretty sure that's 12 films, because you get 9, 10, 11, 12. It does have a documentary. Bunch of special features on the 13th package, which is nice. So, and a booklet. It's a good set. It's good artwork. It's a bit tricky because, again, I've had a previous video where I was showing it off and everything was almost falling out. It didn't. Twice. Somehow. Didn't fall out, but almost. But, yeah, I think my favourite would be Second Sight, just for the variabilities. I like every single presentation of the film that they've done. I've even gone from, like, their standard editions for some films and their limited editions for others. It's basically like, if I can get my hands on it, I bloody well will. So, yeah, I think they've done the most bang-up job compared to all the rest of the quote-unquote boutique labels. The more iconic and interesting ones, sure, Criterion's. I wouldn't particularly say they're limited edition, so there's maybe that is a quotable aspect. But again, they don't always go outrageous like that. Like, I've got the Bruce Lee set, and that's just a big digipack. Some of them are just digipacks, some of them are just regular standard releases. These happen to be collections of films. The World of Wonka-Wai, the Godzilla set, they're all collections of films. The Agnes Varda one, they're all collections. It's several films in a big set. They go out of their way to make it the most extravagant thing. And sure, it's very weird when you look at it. I've gone to Play Music DVDs and they have it on one of their shelves as to, oh, here are all the different Criterions. And it's just like, what the fuck are they? There's the different shapes and sizes. There's no consistency. I do like a bit of uniform. It's just weird. But they have a nice touch, I guess, when you look at the extremity of it all. Sure, why not? Can't really criticize that, but at the same time I am. You know, it's the perk, but it's also the criticism, you know? Because it's so few and far between that you have sets like that. Whereas for Second Sight, for the most part, you know, the limited edition sets do follow a very similar structure. The hardbound, the book, the, you know, digipack, art cards. But you usually get the extra benefits. Sometimes a CD, sometimes a really thick, really nicely done booklet, sometimes new art cards. Or something like the Drive set, which are insane in total. I think that's probably the most extravagant set that I own in terms of a boutique label. I mean, I also have the weird British release. I think it's actually released at JB as well for the Willy Wonka on 4K, which was just a chocolate bar pack. It's very weird. But that's not a boutique label. That's just because they wanted to throw a lot of money at something, much like, say, Wizards of Oz or Gone with the Wind. See, I think the most part of talking about all of these is the fact that most brands don't go out of their way to make interesting sets like these, or to put in the extra effort to put in documentaries and commentaries and essays. These companies do, and that's my main praise, except for Wicker Man. They don't do essays. But I don't think they do essays. Okay, maybe very, very small amount of essays. I think maybe After Dark has an essay, but I don't really think they do essays as much. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's just from the sets I have. I mean, After Dark and collaborations definitely does, but I don't know if they're essays or just here are all the films in a book. It doesn't strike me. That's how bad my memory is for looking at a set like that. I'm like, I know it has a book, but is a book worth it, you know? So yeah. Anyway, that's all. Bit of a long one, but let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite of these boutique labels? What the fuck would you consider a boutique? Would Criterion be up there? I mean, I'm looking at their more extravagant editions, or in this case, just limited edition. But Scream Factory and Criterion don't do limited editions. They just do big editions. They don't do it, but they're not limited. Like, all the rest of these are limited editions. Some of them numbered, indicators numbered, you know, they're all the extravagant limited editions. So, yeah. My favourite Second Sight, followed very, very closely by Arrow Video. I buy more Arrow Videos than I do Second Sight, but that's just because Arrow Video do a lot more releases than Second Sight. But I feel like maybe Arrow Video, maybe Second Sight put a lot more effort in. No, I'm not gonna do that. Like, the more time means more effort. Nah, bitch, I don't fucking know. In the past month alone, they've released Martin and Texas Chainsaw. And I'm pretty sure they did another set as well that I don't have here. But, yeah, good stuff overall. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching. And check out all of these things in other videos. Or just go buy them. I don't know. It is what it is. Have fun. Goodbye.